You're listening to episode 32 of the Madam Web podcast. Wait. No? I'm sorry. Fresh Floppies. Let's go.
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the mother-loving Geek Nation? Happy November! It's Thanksgiving time. We haven't seen you for a little while. Oh, jeez. What are you drinking?
That's coffee.
Oh, I got coffee. Mine's lukewarm, but half. It's like a half eggnog.
So you got to get one of these thermal mugs.
Yeah.
Because it keeps it thermated.
Thermated all to hell.
It's thermated. What are we doing here?
Well, we're here to talk about the freshest of the floppies. A floppies being a single issue of a comic book series that comes out monthly. Today is Wednesday, and we just want you to be a little prepared, but without spoilers, for when you walk into your local comic shop today and pick up your comic books. We're going to start off with...
You know what? Let's jump right out of the gate with a big book, a big book that came out today.
I'm game.
I mean, are you game for this big book?
This big book,
and I mean that in storytelling style, personality, and thickness.
Oh.
We're going to talk about Big Game number 5, the finale of Big Game, written by Mark Miller with art by Pepe Larraz.
It's so good.
The great Pepe Larraz.
So I have started Big Game, and I have not finished it. I got distracted because that's what I do. Just don't spoil it, obviously.
Oh yeah.
But give me them thoughts, bro.
Well, for those of you that don't know, Mark Miller, the writer. Well, no, I was gonna put another adjective on it. The he's got a lot of work.
Prolific.
Thank you.
Prolific
writer. Mark Miller.
Like 30 years now, right?
Yeah, tons and tons of his own owned IP.
Yeah.
He's been doing it for a while. So he had the idea, and he calls it Miller World, which is not
original,
neurotic at all.
Yeah.
Or not neurotic. What's the word I'm looking for? Narcissistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Miller World.
Marktown. Marktown.
Mark Berg.
Miller World.
Yeah. Mark Berg is the capital of Miller World.
Yeah.
Who governs Miller World? Is it a hierarchy? Is it just a monarchy with just like a...
Yeah, just him at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a king.
And then all of the artists that he deems to let share his riches.
Yeah. Well, you know what though? I will give him that much. He actually does.
He picks good ones.
He picks great artists, and he shares co-creating credit with all of them. I love that. So like he's got that down. But he has created so many IP.
Yeah.
The Kick-Ass, Magic Order, Empress, Huck, Wanted, Nemesis, Nightclub, Secret Service, Ambassadors, Space Bandits,
MPH.
Sharky, MPH. Like it just keeps going.
Yeah.
And the goal now was I'm going to do a big old comic book event with all of these disparate stories.
Yeah.
So he did. Oh, Chrononauts. So this is the final issue. All kinds of surprises and deaths and craziness and weirdness. And there's lots of time travel throughout the whole series.
I do like me some time travel.
How can you be the best and the worst at the same time?
Oh, yeah. He's been writing that line for decades.
Yeah, it's like...
Sometimes it's like edgelord BS, and other times I'm like, oh, this is quite thoughtful and good.
I wouldn't call this thoughtful.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
well, this series.
This series. This is more bombast, and I'm going to be crazy and do crazy things, and look at me, I'm crazy, right? And some of it really, really works. Like, oh, that's kind of cool. Oh, that's a good idea. And some of it is just so hackneyed.
Oof.
And it's all mixed together with the same equal weight, so you can't really forgive one or the other. You just got to go with it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help, it hurts and doesn't help that Pepe Larraz is like one of the best artists currently working.
Yeah.
So it's gorgeous, but you're also like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And not in a fun, stupid way.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was my question. You've got your garbage versus trash.
Yeah, there's a couple of ways in which they establish these rules. Oh, and Jupiter's Legacy is one of them too. Mm-hmm. But in this universe, Jupiter's Legacy is actually a Netflix show and a comic book.
Cute.
So they establish a bunch of different like ways to bring in things. And then towards the end of the book, I was like, oh, well, I guess he didn't include this book and this book. they were just like tacked on at the end of like, oh, hi there, and then walked out of the screen. It was just like really just plopping them in, I guess, to prove a point. I don't know. It was impressive and lazy at the same time, which is so weird.
It makes me want to read it.
I'm
gonna finish it.
It's fascinating. Like I don't think he's. I'm trying to think of what I have not liked of Mark Miller. I'm not talking about the person. The person is a
whole different thing.
A whole different thing that I actually don't enjoy. And I haven't for a long time.
He's been losing me over the years, yeah.
But I love
some of his online stuff.
I love what is it? Grant Morrison has a bunch of really great quotes about him. Mm-hmm. When a coworker of yours, a strong coworker of yours that you did a lot of things with, now has a negative opinion of you for very good reasons, was it like so he said something about running. What would you say to Mark Miller if you ran into him? He was just like, I just hope I'd be going Mach 5.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Yeah.
I love Grant Morrison.
But anyway, it's worth reading. It's very interesting, but it's also trash.
Yeah.
It's very trashy.
Yeah.
And
kind of what I expected.
And not very original though. Yeah. So like there's some books of his, like Magic Order. There's some elements of like edgy trashiness in there, but it's genuinely original at the same time.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like trope after trope after trope. Yeah. Just big action with no meat.
My feeling of Mark Miller over the years has been trope after trope after trope turned slightly on its head. Hey, Batman, what if he was bad? Hey, Big, the movie, but what if he was Shazam?
Yeah.
It's just it's this thing we know plus this other thing,
which is a great formula.
Yeah.
Here it doesn't feel like it has that twist. It's just, I think the goal was, I'm going to build a puzzle out of these disparate pieces, and that worked. But I don't know if it's impressive beyond that.
Sure.
You know?
Gotcha, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, it's like impressively squeezed it in, but it's not. I didn't have as much fun reading it like I did some of his single series.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So it's like, and also too, I think it's a good off ramp.
Yeah,
if you're tired of Miller. I think
you've done it.
I think it's a good off ramp. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Superior Spider-Man #1.
Formerly adjectiveless Spider-Man.
Right.
Number 15.
So wait, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
Is that literally, because I said to you yesterday after reading it, I was like, why is it called Superior Spider-Man? It just feels like another issue of Spider-Man.
It is.
Which was the book he was writing up until this point.
Yeah.
So that's what they've done?
Basically, it's the same creative team.
Like with She-Hulk ending and becoming Sensational She-Hulk with the next issue, basically?
It seems like that, yeah. So the Spider-Boy, the Spider-Boy of it all kind of offshoot into a Spider-Boy book.
Yeah.
And then the Spider-Man book became Superior Spider-Man.
No kidding.
Yeah, you know what? It feels like this was just like the next arc of that, and they just changed the title altogether with a new #1.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I think it sucks.
I was looking forward to more.
I like the book. I think
the marketing.
I think it sucks.
Yeah, because you expect to get Superior Spider-Man. Like the whole question of this for me to be excited was like, all right, well, we had the Superior Spider-Man, which has gone down as one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man series.
It's gone down. It's been noted.
And then they brought back Superior Spider-Man again, and I was super excited for it, and it was not interesting to me.
It was a wait. Oh, you're talking about the older series, the Doc Ock trying to be a
Doc Ock in Peter's body,
Happy Boy
clone body, and I read one issue and dropped off, and then they were doing it again, and I went, oh, all right, maybe this will be the time. Who's gonna maybe they'll put someone else in Spider-Man's body instead of Doc Ock, maybe. And then none of that happened, and it was just the next issue of Spider-Man. So I enjoyed the book. It was not what I was expecting.
Yeah, same. If this was meant to be a Superior Spider-Man arc of the Spider-Man book, it would make more sense and it would feel more organic. This just I don't get it because in the story, first of all, no spoilers. Yeah. There is no Superior Spider-Man in the story.
Yeah,
everything is predicated in this plot. Everything is predicated off of something that Otto did as Superior Spider-Man that both he and Parker have forgotten.
Yep.
So it's just the consequences of something that both of them don't know. And it's fascinating. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But there's no Superior Spider-Man in this.
And on top of that, we went through the Spider-Man arc of Adjectiveless Spider-Man, and then there was a one-shot called Superior Spider-Man Returns, where he didn't return.
No, it was just a recap of like
then-
most of the
Yeah.
Superior
So,
Spider-Man
like,
stuff.
even if you're just picking up Superior Spider-Man #1 here, and you did not pick up the one-shot last month, you may be like, wait, what? Like, that
as a-
return should have been the first
As
issue
a
of this
retailer,
book.
did you order this for all the people that were pulling Dan Slott's Spider-Man?
No.
Because this is the rest of that series.
Yeah. I need to do that because I did not know that. I was looking for people who wanted Superior Spider-Man. I would ask people. So,
Yeah, because it literally picks up right after, like, he's training Bailey.
Yeah.
Like, this is
Yep.
basically the next day.
Yep. Yeah. So as a retailer, a little frustrating,
Yeah.
and also you have to read a one shot before you read this first issue, which sucks. This
You know
is
what?
issue #2, not #1.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I was going to say, like, hey, maybe you could just read this. But no, all of the explanation of
This woman.
this woman and where she came from and what Ak is missing was...
Yeah.
Yeah.
All revealed in the one shot.
Well, it'll help the trade.
I imagine
later.
that'll be in the trade. It'll be like the one shot. then
Yeah, but
it's-
that defeats the purpose.
Of course. Yeah. But that being said, this was fun.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
the book itself was fun. It's
Yeah, delightful.
how did you feel? We weren't on the air for Spider-Boy #1. How did you feel about that book?
It was fine. I thought it was cute, and it is very. It feels to me like very reminiscent of the early Stan Lee, Steve Ditko era of Spider-Man, and it feels a little way more family friendly and way more kid friendly, as it should be.
Oh yeah,
Having the name Spider-Boy.
it's like Bubblegum Spider-Man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of the names of the villains are very punny. What was the one? It was an elephant plus a rhino, and his name is,
Hell if I know.
which I love. It's so
And-
dumb.
And Tenpin,
Because
the
he
bowling
bowls.
ball head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it feels low stakesy and very silly, but great. That if you want kids to read comic books, this may be the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. This was cute. This was fine. I can't get over the title.
You just can't
I just can't.
let it go.
Yeah, because I don't know. Like I
No,
I love me some Spider-Man
It does feature Superior Spider-Man because it's got
in a backup.
what's it called? The flashbacks.
Yeah, flashbacks of the alternate timeline that Bailey was not erased from.
Yeah, which actually I quite like.
That's
that.
kind of cool.
Yeah.
Show me that. Like,
Yeah.
give me
I
that
like
as
that
a book.
I want more of that. Like, where
honestly,
was Spider-Boy during this thing?
That
Yeah.
should be 90% of this book. Like,
or Spider-Boy.
do Spider-Boy, but during the Superior Spider-Man era. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's all consequences that have been erased other than for him.
I miss the Superior Spider-Man costume. There's
The
something
goggles.
about the goggles.
The
man.
goggles are so dope. Like,
Very cool.
I get people will complain about, like, you can't see the emoting eyes. So, like, the classic kind
yeah.
of ways depicted where his eyes squint or get wider or whatnot. When they're goggles, you explicitly can't do that. However, they're so cool looking. Like, I love the way the light kind of is refracted off of
They're
the
cool.
goggle lens. I think they're great.
Plus, they do add, even though he doesn't emote, they do add a little bit of menace for some reason. Somehow it's a little bit more menacing because you
Well-
know it's Doc Ock in there.
Well, I think even if you didn't know it's Doc Ock, it still looks a little bit more menacing, and then that's
Especially
kind
he's
of the
got the fingy,
He's got
pointy.
pincers on his fingies.
Pincers on his
Yeah.
fingies.
fingy pincers.
So, I mean, I'm going to keep reading this. This was delightful.
I might not.
Just because of the title? Just out of like...
No, I mean,
grr.
it's I've been enjoying the mainline Spider-Man a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
And then between this and Spider-Boy and that, I don't want 5 Spidey books a month.
Oh, what about Spectacular Spider-Man, which has just been announced?
No.
By the guy who did the cartoon.
Yeah, no, I never watched it.
Oh my God, it's my favorite.
I'm never gonna. I've come to the realization that I'm probably never gonna watch cartoons
That's
again.
fine. Well, I mean, you don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never. It's never
He
really
knows.
been my thing.
Yeah.
And everyone loves them, and that's great.
It is-
I love your love.
It's barely my thing because there's a lot of cartoons that I just fall asleep for.
Yeah.
And
That's-
anime especially.
That's what I used to do. I used to put on like all of the
Like the Justice
Avengers,
League
Earth's
or-
Finest, and
Same!
Justice Leagues, and go to sleep to
Same!
them. But see, that was a symptom of a problem with anxiety, and I associate. I don't care anymore. Like
Yeah.
I never watched them for the plot. I
Yeah.
read the comics. So
Interesting, yeah.
it was never a thing for me.
All right, let's move on to a spooky book from
Spooky!
Image Comics presents A Christmas Story by James Tynion IV and Joshua Hickson.
It's called The Deviant.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a thick boy.
It's a thicky
It's a
book.
thick boy. And I am...
Beautiful presentation.
I have over the years, I'm a big horror fan, and over the years I have just decided there's not enough Christmas horror stuff.
In anywhere?
Like just, there's the Silent Night, Deadly Night movies.
4 of them.
Yeah,
5
Krampus.
of them.
I was delighted by Krampus. I love Gremlins. There's just something about spooky movies or like sort of monster movies during Christmas. The juxtaposition, the dichotomy of those two emotions. Of The Nightmare Before Christmas being one of my favorite films. So we have here a spooky story that takes place at Christmas. Well, a couple Christmases, and we've got a killer who's on the loose back in 1973. A mall Santa, if you will, or like I guess before then they didn't have malls. They had what are those places called? Like
department stores. I'm gonna stop you.
Okay, stop me.
Yeah, because I think there's I don't want to accidentally spoil the back half reveal. So this book is in 2 time periods, 1973 and 2023, 50 years apart. In the present is a comic book writer who is doing research on murders that happened in 1973.
Yeah.
There's a very, very, very interesting connection between the killer and the writer. That is very deep and weird. And it's all in the backdrop of this creepy looking Santa killer. And that's all I want to say. The connection I thought was incredibly. Do you even know what I'm talking about? Yeah. I don't know, because it's subtle, but not. The idea of learning about yourself because of something horrific that happened you're not even connected to.
Yep.
It's really, really fascinating. So that part of the book, the writer talking to an elderly murderer in prison is like the best part of the book.
Oh, yeah.
Everything else is just kind of like
plot stuff.
It's plot. It's just like
setup.
Yeah. This is strong. I like this a lot.
I like this a lot too.
Yeah, this is really good.
And such a simple slasher motif that comes across very creepy. I just love the way it's just, we could spoil it on the cover. He's just a guy dressed up. He's a skinny dude dressed up in an oversized Santa suit covered in blood, but underneath the hat and the fake beard is a mask that you can't see. It almost feels like if you saw
almost,
Yeah.
or
like if you did you see Krampus?
Yeah, I saw it a couple times.
That mask that he's wearing, but you can see past that mask is something horrible.
Yeah,
He's dressed up like Santa.
I didn't know it was a mask the first 2 times I saw it.
Yeah. The first time I was like, oh, that's cool.
Now the first time I saw it, I was like, the animatronics are shit. His
His
mouth doesn't move.
You just thought it was a problem of budget.
Yeah, it was like because I like the mask should not be the same texture as what's behind it, so it looked like a realistic-ish mask.
Yeah.
Like make it a plastic mask, make it like a colorful mask, and then just like creepiness behind it. Sorry.
Anyway, very effective. And I have a bit of a not soft spot, a trigger point with some of the stuff that's going on in this book. So it was a little bit ickier than I'm used to because I was like, do I want to keep reading this? Is this gonna? But I'm glad I finished it because the character work is very well.
That
done.
was a little bit of a red herring though too.
I just didn't want to read about it.
No, I understand that, but it seems as though that's not actually what happened.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. It's a bit of a red herring.
Yeah.
And I do not know who Joshua Hickson is.
No.
But this art is rad. The color, the mood, and the scope is rad. The actual facial acting, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's
a little
very Franco Francavilla.
Thank you. Yeah, which you are not a giant fan of.
With other colors besides orange and black. That man only draws in orange and black.
No, I think the pacing of this book is like 100% the artist. Yeah. There's wide shots with very little in them, and it's the way like the shots that they're placed in between dense scenes, and it's just very, very effective in almost like a smash cut feeling kind of. Yeah, that's what I'm referring to.
Yeah, it's great.
It is absolutely wonderful art.
So simple, but like I was just like, oh, that's great. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the night sky is 90% of the page, but it's just the way that where it's placed.
Yeah.
It was very filmic of like being a smash cut between something horrific and then the next action. Yeah.
And you can almost hear the sirens.
It is a really, really strong book.
I
was
agree.
very happy with this.
Highly agree. Yeah, I'm very excited for this. Let's move on to G.I. Joe, a real American hero. G.I. Joe.
Oh, this is G.I. Joe, a real American hero #1.
Idiot.
Oh.
Gotcha. It's actually 301st issue.
What?
That's what they see. It's a big first issue, but then real tiny next to it says 300N.
Oh, so this
you
is
dummy.
This is the first. So it's written by Larry Hama with art by Chris Mooneyham.
Yeah.
I love that name. Mooneyham.
So, all right, here's the real quick rundown.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe by Larry Hama started in the early 80s, or maybe mid 80s, and it was one of the first comic books to get me into reading comic books. It was like Archie before that, maybe a Spider-Man, and then G.I. Joe forever.
1982.
Thank you, 82. It was
It's in the back.
Wonderful. And so all of the character work that you know about G.I. Joe, based on toys, was created by Larry Hama. Like all the detailed character work. And I loved it. And so it went on from Marvel Comics for quite a long time. And then that got canceled. And then IDW eventually picked up the rights. And they picked up where Larry Hama...
Devil's Due is in between it all?
Oh, I forgot Devil's Due.
Well, I not to interrupt. It's just that there's a little letter in the back from Larry Hama, and I forgot how many fucking publishers have picked it up and dropped it off.
But all
Marvel,
the same
Devil's
continuity.
Due, Marvel, Devil's Due, IDW, and now Image.
Yeah. So Image now has the rights to G.I. Joe, and they're creating their own timeline, their own universe within that and Transformers and Void Rivals. But they are also continuing G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, same continuity since 1982.
And there's never been any other writer for this.
Crazy.
That's wild.
Isn't that nuts?
300 goddamn issues.
And I stopped around the Marvel years.
So
and
like
then,
150-ish.
And then I tried the IDW, didn't grab me. I tried the Devil's Due, didn't grab me. I didn't stick with it. But this first issue, this 301st issue, I was like, oh man, I don't know if it's just nostalgia, but I felt like I was right back in the early days of G.I. Joe.
So I have never read the comic. I've never read Larry Hama's G.I. Joe. I am very familiar with the shadow that it casts across all comic books. Yeah. Everyone is. I've also never watched the show religiously. Oh. I've seen the movie.
The movie's so good.
The cartoon movie, of course. Yeah.
Duh.
And play with the toys incessantly. But no, did not watch them. I also have no frame of reference for the goddamn E-Bombs World videos on the internet.
Oh my God, right.
Nope, don't like.
I love those.
My wife quotes them and I'm like, are you having a stroke?
Who wants a body massage?
Yeah, what's happening?
Give him the stick. Don't give him the stick.
Nope, don't got it. So I have absolutely no...
It runs through my head rent-free.
No, nothing. I did read a good chunk of the IDW relaunch.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I love that. Right?
It was very good.
Yeah.
The Christos Gage, was it?
I want to say Christos Gage.
All of the Chuckle stuff.
Yeah. Chuckles was great.
Chuck Dixon, rest in peace, did a lot of the... he's not dead, but he's dead to me.
I was gonna say he's just Comicsgate now. So
yeah, he did a lot of the he did a lot of the backstories, which were incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Like it was all from Jump, and it basically my level set of G.I. Joe is the relaunch, and I have all 7 hardcovers. I read 4 of them, and I'm just gonna keep going. But no, I've never read this before, and I had no frame of reference, so I jumped into this cold, and I fucking loved it. It is so good. Oh, this is so stupid good. This is like...
Oh, I'm excited.
This is like... oh, God damn it. I can't believe... The first 2 pages is a speed round of the last 300, and it's done so efficiently and so beautifully.
2 pages. It's only 2 pages.
I am like, but I kind of count the first page of the current story because they're in dialogue and with action are kind of also recapping. However, the last issue, whole thing so with...
I didn't know if this was actually the end of the final series, the series preceding it, because that's a weird place to leave your series if you're going to be leaving
I think before he left, he knew.
Mm-hmm. It's just weird to...
Before 300 was put on paper, he knew he was continuing. Like, I remember him saying online, like, I'm already writing, I just can't say what it's for.
Thank you. Okay, so he knew he would... I thought you meant he knew that it was canceled.
No.
I was like,
he knew that it was going to... because the rights were always going to go somewhere else.
Gotcha.
And whoever picked up the rights kind of had already told him, we'd like you to continue this run.
Oh, great.
So like he knew, yeah. So like that was all of this stuff with the fucking zombie bomb and blah, blah, blah. And they're all on a plane. I don't know who half the characters are.
Yeah.
It did not matter because this was so breakneck fun.
Yeah.
And
I concur.
there is so much. There's also an aspect of this, and it was in the IDW run, of competence porn.
Oh, yeah.
They are throwing around a lot of slang and a lot of lingo regarding the machines they're using, the you know, how people in the services talk to each other in regards to measures of distance, types like. It is a very, in a weird way, dialogue, at least dialogue-wise, it's an impenetrable or inaccessible book, but because it's married in such a fun way with the art and the way that he sparingly throws it out, you understand what's happening, and it's not a big deal.
These people are yelling each other the entire time. So here's just a taste of dialogue. Yeah. The lowered ramp cut our headway considerably, Cutter. As soon as the ramp is back in, we go to redline again. We're having trouble keeping a steady trim. Not enough lift with an engine out, and the structural damage necessitating throttling down. We need to lose some weight. Like,
yeah. I'm not a structural. I'm not an aviation engineer or a structural engineer to understand that they just need to drop weight to get level. But it's just all contextually there, and it's so fun. There's an Avengers series that came out last year or earlier this year that you did not read because you hate Greg Land, and I get it.
Yeah.
Called All Out Avengers.
Forgot about it.
It was really fun to read because each issue was a standalone story of the third act of some other story. So like they would start each issue of in action, like you jumped in mid-scene and the whole issue was basically just the climax of how they beat whatever.
Yeah.
Every single issue was like a new thing. And then at the very end, they kind of tied it all together.
Who wrote that?
That was Landry, Greg, something Landry and...
Not Lansing?
Not Lansing and Kelly, the other two guys, Landry and something else. But it was a solid...
Sounds neat.
And then, you know, spoilers, you find out at the end that it's actually... There's after every issue, there's like a little like behind the...
Stinger?
Someone's watching them.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, you find out it's actually the Beyonder who's fucking with them and like, you know, fucking with their memories and they don't remember stuff and you can only get a piece of it. But this totally reminded me of that, where it's just like, no, we don't. We're just gonna drop you in the middle of the third act, and then we're just gonna roll with it, and you're just gonna. It was so fun.
That was the fun for me. Is they did that, and I went, well, I don't know if this was the actual cliffhanger from the last issue or if he's just throwing us in, but it works so well, I don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
And then for anybody else who's curious about G.I. Joe, this original Larry Hama series, the other thing that they dropped this week is G.I. Joe Actually #1, which is a reprint of what came out in 1982. But from my understanding, Marvel had trimmed or censored some of Larry Hama's issue, and this is a reprinting of it as if the way it was originally intended. So it's basically G.I. Joe #1, the director's cut. So I'm looking forward to that as well.
I honestly, I don't think, I don't have the desire to go back and start reading it. But I think I would totally read a collection of this new stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'm back on board at G.I. Joe train. Outsiders #1 from DC Comics, The Dawn of DC, by, speaking of which, Lansing and Kelly, and then arted by Carey. Somebody Carey. Robert.
Oh, Robert.
Robert Carey. So.
Oh, Robert.
Hey, Noel.
Yeah,
Did you ever read Planetary?
Oh, that book by Warren Ellis with art by John Cassaday that took about 17 years to come out.
And it was amazing?
We talked about this the other day. I have never finished Planetary.
Well, that's understandable.
I read...
Because there was such a...
There was a 6 or 7 year gap between like
the penultimate issue and the ultimate issue.
Well, more than that, it's just like the arcs. So like I read it in trade. I read because
That's fine.
Yeah. The first 3 trades and then also the crossover stuff.
Yeah.
I read all that in like a hummingbird's heartbeat and loved it. And then I went to find out that the story's not finished yet. And
this was all the way back then.
All the way back then.
Oh, I see.
And then I started getting it in issues when it finally did start coming back out, with like a good 6 to 12 months between each last of the 5 issues and blah blah blah. Yeah. And I couldn't remember a goddamn thing. And it's been on my list to kind of go back and finish, but I'd have to restart it because it's a very complex book. So yes and no.
For me, it was wonderful.
Yes and no.
Yes, I
loved everything I read.
Happened.
I just don't remember any of it.
And then there was such a long period between the second to last, and then the last issue that I had to go. I don't remember what's going on, but I think I have the omnibus.
Did you go back and read it?
I started it again, and then because someone dangled keys, I got distracted. But it still has remained one of like a really bright spot in my reading oeuvre. So that's all to say that Outsiders #1, Unearthing the Secrets of the DC Universe, is just a multiversal or a continuation, I would say, of Planetary from 20 years ago, however long. Except this has Luke Fox, who's Lucius Fox's son, and Jace Fox's brother, Batwoman, Kate Kane, and then a drummer. So when I was ordering this, I was like, that looks real familiar. And then I read about it, and I was like, yeah, okay, that's just another Planetary.
Yeah.
What did you think of this Outsiders?
I think it was slick. I liked the art a lot. It's got a lot of the facial acting has a little bit of Patrick Gleason, which I really digged.
I can see it, yeah.
Yeah, especially when you meet the drummer. Like this whole one-page splash.
Yeah.
That's Patrick Gleason.
It is, isn't it?
That's full Gleason. He went this Carey guy went full Gleason.
Went full Gleason.
And I liked the scope of it. Some of the plot dynamics to get the characters together was a little rough. Like Luke Fox getting Kate Kane. I didn't really get. So like he's like, you don't have to wear the wig, and but then the bad guys refer to her as Kate Kane or as Kane, and I'm like, does she have a secret identity? Like it was just a little bit of weirdness and yada yada.
Sorry, what bad guys call her Kane?
There's a bunch of like in the beginning when they meet up.
Oh, go on.
And all of whoever's in this, whoever ends up attacking her at the end of this, that was very unclear. Yell out this here. Either way, it's just I don't even know who the fuck these people are.
No, I don't know either. They never call her Kane. It's just him calling her Kane or Kate.
Somebody yells her name.
Anyway, go on.
No, right there.
Oh, Kane.
Yeah,
you're right.
Come on.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
It's I was just like, okay, whatever. Why are you wearing a mask if whoever you're fighting knows you?
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
And then I really, really liked the please promise me this isn't some goddamn Batman thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. When it was a lot of table setting in a very fast, but when it finally got to we are only here to learn and manage consequences, I was like, oh, you mean archaeologists of history?
Yes.
Yeah. And it just really started to click, and I really like the drummer. I like that she's old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
her entrance is fantastic. She's like, this is the drummer, and she's like, definitive articles are for superheroes and assholes.
Yeah.
Drummer.
Just call me the drummer.
Yeah. Just drummer. Yeah.
Yep. Love it.
And then they don't redo anything. You already alluded to it. It's a sequel.
Yeah.
This is pre-existing stuff in the multiverse of stories, and they just happen to come across
an element from Planetary that is now wound up in the DC universe.
Yes, an element that was able to that existed outside of the multiverse in itself.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so so it could be anywhere and anything. So I was just like, yeah, that's pretty slick.
Yeah.
But then they give you a couple little reveals at the end where it's just like, oh, is there more to this?
You know what I'm glad didn't happen? Amanda Waller.
I mean, that might still happen.
I hope it does. I'm just she pops up everywhere these days.
She's the big bad of the DCU now.
I'm tired of her.
But I also like that immediately they kind of pretty much tell you that the fourth man is Lucius Fox.
Yeah. Well, no, yes, you're right. Yeah, because that was a big mystery of who is the fourth man in Planetary. Yeah.
Like just right off the bat, the fourth man, the benefactor is Lucius Fox. That's that.
I enjoy this a lot.
This is really strong.
Yeah.
I am a very big fan of Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing.
Remind me.
They just did the Captain America run with the.
You did like that. Yeah.
It was really good, but they've done a bunch of other stuff too.
I dropped it, but yeah, I've been seeing those names a lot. And I always confuse them with Guardians of the Galaxy.
Abnett and Lanning. Yeah, they're wonderful writers. They also did the IDW, which you didn't stick around with. The IDW, no, the IDW Star Trek stuff, the year 5 stuff.
Yeah.
Not even a giant Star Trek fan, and that was really fun.
Yeah,
but yeah, they're very good, in and out kind of writers. They work for all publishers, and it's pretty cool.
Do you know if this is a mini?
12 issues.
Great, perfect.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it can go longer, but it's been like in the solicitations, it's 1 of 12.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I want
I'm in.
this.
I'll
yeah.
read 12 issues of
Yeah,
this.
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, that's also why, like, I've behind the sausage curtain, I want less monthlies, but when it's a mini, I'm like, yeah, okay.
All right, I'm in.
I'm in. Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's it. Is there anything you're looking forward to that you haven't gotten to?
Danger Street.
Oh yeah. Is that the wrap up?
No, it's penultimate issue.
Gotcha.
Danger Street just looks fantastic. I'm very. I did already read the Geiger.
One shot.
One shot. Well, it's 1 of 2. It's a two-parter, but it's the inaugural issue of Ghost Machine.
Right.
The new creator-owned.
Sub.
It's
Imprint.
No, it's more than that. It's like a collective, a studio collective. They all share all creator credit for all the books, and it's a shared universe.
Interesting.
So it's almost like like a collective. It's not just
like
an
distillery.
I guess so. Yeah, a little bit.
It's another distillery, which is another.
But those aren't shared universes. They're all working in the same kind of.
Yeah.
They all decided to start a thing together.
That's fun. And mine's going to be The Call, number 4, by Kelly Thompson and Mateo D. Eulis. And it's a really great sci-fi, kind of spooky portal book. Highly recommend if you're not reading The Call. And that's it. We did it. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will see you tonight for the Cult Pop live stream on YouTube, where we're going to be discussing the Marvels as well as the season finale, or the whole series of Loki Season 2. And then also maybe the Madam Web trailer. We look forward to seeing you there. We love you. Adios.
Adios.
Muchacho.
Do.
Do.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to the Cult Pop Network, home to podcasts, live shows, and a whole lot of fun stuff for every flavor of fan. Follow us wherever you find your favorite podcasts, and be sure to join us live every Wednesday night at youtube.com/CultPopGo at 8 p.m. Eastern. While you're there, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you'll know when we drop new Thunder Rounds and episodes of Fresh Floppies, a spoiler-free show about single-issue comics released each week. Until then, we'll talk at you later.